This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, we have Sharon Mahaney, and she's going to read her award-winning poem to start off.
Okay, I have to get this thing off of my screen. Uh-oh. There we go. And I'm going to show it to you really quick in this weird format. It's but just so you can kind of see what it looks like here.
Right.
Okay. We only darn the large holes. Her long ago is tied to the loose thread, the one that hangs long and ragged as a frayed tail, swipes her arm when it swings from side to side. To pull just makes it longer, puckers the garment, draws attention. He never said goodbye. He never said he would return. A fear of unraveling. The answer, of course, to take hold of the end piece, the fray loops of the noose, the borderless hook, shall we call it the hanging? Grasping the hanging between forefingers and thumb, get a hold of its essence and gently push the fiber through the pattern of S curves and V's and tuck it through to the other side, nearest the flesh, where raw edges may be felt tightly against smooth, sheer veneer. Touch the fibrous strays without fear, as they are soft from wear. Reflect upon their stories. Wind them together and over and under and around to form a bulbous knot, holding the past tight and neat and close to the chest. It is here where loose ends are mended, where one can lead with the fray of the past to begin a new row, forming a new truth.
Oh, lovely. That's beautiful.
And when you read it, you're actually weaving between the whole and tying the words together. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So the weird thing that happened was I wrote this, and then I was looking to do a presentation to my metaphysical group where I had written a poem, and then a friend of mine sent me like, what are the latest crop circles? And there was a crop circle that would match my poem. So I'm looking for something to put into my presentation, and I come across a crop circle that has a heart in the middle of it, and it has a piece of wheat that comes down just like in my poem. It has something that hangs down right in there just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's really unique, right? So then also I'm writing these poems for the Chaparral contest, right? And the one category is California. So I write a poem, The Shape of California.
Oh.
Right? So it just kind of came together, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I've sent those off. And then Rick comes to my house and he brings me the Pegasus.
Oh.
And the base is shaped like California.
Oh my God, that is such a wonderful story.
Yeah, it's just very interesting how everything kind of goes with everything else.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So are you looking to publish?
Yes, I would like to. I've got it kind of put together the way I would like to see it.
Okay.
I've just got to figure out how to do that. And I even made a potential cover. I sent it to a printer, this guy down the street, but they didn't respond. So I'm not sure what happened. Because it's quirky, it has a lot of shaped poems in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's like a publisher's nightmare. That's why I thought I would just do it myself. But yeah. I've been helping my mom so far the last couple months. So it's just waiting. Here's what I
beautiful.
was looking for to
That looks cool.
as the cover. Because I put my
Beautiful.
crop circle poems in there, I thought I would do the wheat
Mhm.
to remind of the crop circles. And then Becoming Light. Becoming is the key poem in there. Several years back, I wrote it. It's like a prayer. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Looks great.
Thank you. So I'm excited about it. I just need to kind of get it to pull itself together. I know you guys are all publishing and having, the little booklets out, and it's like, maybe I should do that too.
Yeah, good.
Mark could speak to that. Mark's done that.
Oh, I would love to hear.
Mark, tell him about your publishing process.
Okay. Well, when I started going to poetry open mics many, many moons ago, the guy who ran the open mic also ran a small press, and he loved publishing first-time poets.
Uh-huh.
And so basically he had me just do nothing but write and share my poetry at the open mic for about a year.
Wow.
Basically. And in that amount of time, I sort of learned the poems that people liked and the ones that I liked, and started developing themes. And his basic process was to just say, out of all those poems, find the 20 or 30 that you really like the best, and then see if any theme develops among them, or just put them in order, and then that might remind you of a couple other poems that you might really like, or inspire you to write something that brand new just for the book. He also hooked me up with a guy who would do the word processing for me, and he had actually been producing chapbooks and magazines for a couple of decades. And so he word processed the book, and then he gave me the master copy so that in the future, if I wanted to put out another book, I would not have to pay someone, a few $100s just to have them, type it up and get it all paginated correctly in the table of contents and all of that stuff. So when it came to my second book, I put that one, quote unquote, together all by myself.
Nice.
Just by highlighting the title on the first page and typing the title of the second book and the copyright date and all that stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, it was basically a type over of the first book, became the second book. And I learned an awful lot that way.
That's awesome.
Yes. Including how much of a headache it is to get a table of contents together.
Yes. Yeah. And there's one version as a part of Word or something that will do it itself. If you put the titles into a certain place, and then it puts them in the table of contents. But it got a little complicated because some poems went 2 pages.
Right.
and how that all worked.
Or like me, I might have 2 or 3 really short 3 or 4 line poems all on one page. And so,
right.
It would catch the title of the first one, but not the second or the third ones.
Right.
So yeah, there are still bugs in it, no matter what kind of program you use. But you work yourself around them.
Allegra mentioned David Boyles. I know Sue Daly has published a book through Dave.
He is just a treasure to work with.
Yeah. He's nice and he's funny.
And you send your poems, and all you do is send your poems to him. And and the table, and he takes care of the pagination and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
Mhm.
In fact, he might be a good person to have at a future online meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
he would be
Approach
good.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he has a book out, so
Mhm.
he could
Mhm.
read
yeah,
from
several.
that too, as well as give us tips.
Yes, I've bought several of his books.
Yeah.
There's a local group here, the Sacramento Poetry Alliance. They've
Mhm.
separated from the Sacramento Poetry Center.
Yeah, I
Mm.
kind of do both.
Yeah.
Okay, Sharon, got any more poems you want to share?
Oh, can I try this one on
Yeah.
you?
Karen, could you do just one more, please? Another crop poem?
Oh, you want a crop poem?
Just one more from your book, a crop poem.
Okay. So it's not so much that I wrote about crop circles as that the crop circles came to match my poem.
See, that's what I'm so intrigued by that. I think that's a gorgeous idea.
Yeah. Other than the one that I put in David Bowles's Voices.
Yeah.
I think is it last year's or the year before last? Yeah, Pen Pals. That one I wrote about a crop circle. So I figured it could go both ways.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and the Indigo Shroud, that one was not a crop circle. It was an email got sent to me, and it was an image that went with a story. And that was inspiring.
Wow.
Because it was so specific. It's like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I had in my mind when I wrote the poem.
Wow.
Like, whoa. So which one do you want me to do? Pen Pals?
Whichever one you'd like to do.
And I don't have pictures of the crop circles right here. I think I've got them in my other room, so you can
Just
kind of
tell it.
see.
Just tell it what the circle is.
Okay, I'm going to do Clutch just because it's so unique.
Okay.
Okay, Clutch. And this is like a prose poem. It doesn't have a
Okay.
shape to it. At each opportunity, my high school boyfriend would hold my hand. While walking, he would slide his fingers into mine, interlock, trying to weave strands of himself into my heart. He would take his hand off the steering wheel of his Toyota truck, hold my hand, balled up like a second gear shift, and interlock. He would juggle between gear and my hand, back and forth, his two favorite things. Hadn't known I missed that feeling until now. My cat's prehensile tail wound around my forearm, gently wrapping around, clutching me, as if we were interlocked, claiming me as his. I scratch his back. He rumbles like that old Toyota truck, and I smile like I did back then.
Great.
Love
And
that.
if I hunt around, I could find the crop circle that obviously is meant for that one. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, you guys keep going, and I'll find it in between things, and I'll show it to you
Okay.
if I have it out here. Oh, here it is. I don't know if you could. It looks very dark. I don't know
That's
where
really-
to show it.
That's really
Oh,
cool.
You see it?
yeah. Yeah. That's
So
great.
People
Yeah.
that analyzed it said it either looks like a cat or a bat, but the round circle in there, I'm like, well, that's the clutch,
Mhm.
right? And then all the
Right.
talk about going around,
Mhm.
That's good.
and the timing of it that it came right after I had emailed my poems to somebody. And then that came to my attention. It's like,
Oh,
what?
How could somebody do a design like that? Ugh, that's
I don't know how they do the crop circles. Let's see, if I look, I might be able to find you. What was the other one? Oh, the heart. If you could see this one, this is the one with the we only darn the large holes.
that's cool.
wow.
Yeah, because it has that circle and then the drop and then the heart. And then all this like feathering stuff around is that I see that as my text, right? That's the story. Yeah.
But
I
must
have
take
a
off-
whole presentation that I'm going to do in Flagstaff in October for my metaphysical group. That's
Good.
complete with a PowerPoint slides where I read the poems and show the big pictures of the crop circle and explain my little theory of what could be, why that's happening.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a short one here.
Yes.
This one's called On the Table. And I was inspired to write this while I was laying on the acupuncturist table.
Oh,
Butterfly pinned, heart still flutters. Piano keys pour gently into solitude. Please bubble up and mingle with grace. A prodigal monk enters into now.
wow.
I like it.
That's beautiful.
Did you feel healed after that?
Yes, it's just
Uh-huh.
it's such a wonderful environment. The staff there are just amazing, and you know, I would have never guessed that sitting there and being stuck with pins would be wonderfully relaxing.
Right.
It feels like you've been to the beach all weekend and you just had a full body massage. It's some days I'll just go, turn out the light and I'll see you tomorrow. I just want to go to sleep. It
Wow.
just feels so good. It gets those endorphins going or something.
Yeah. That's great.
Very cool.
Okay, so I have another one here. This one's called Puppy Gambling. We had took in a pug who knew this family that had they were getting evicted from a house, and it was like still September. It was pretty hot, and they had two pugs, and the husband and wife split up, and the wife was able to take one pug, and the husband wasn't able to take the other one. So we took her in, and unbeknownst to us, she was pregnant at the time, and she gave. So it was like, and we even took her to the dog to a vet and everything. The vet didn't catch it. So we're like in the middle of the night, we hear this squeaking, and we wake up, and I thought that there were mice,
Oh my gosh.
laying next to her name was Miley. And it turned out we saw two puppies, and then we're like on Google at 2:00 in the morning, go, how do you deliver a puppy?
Oh,
And they all were just, so I named them, Groucho, Chico, and Harpo. And Groucho was the biggest one, and he just became like a failure to thrive because
Oh.
he wasn't able to like nurse and breathe
Mhm.
at the
oh,
same time. So he would start to nurse and then he'd have to disengage. And so we got one recommendation from a vet saying that he wasn't going to make it. We should put him down. So I went to a different vet and, to put him down. And the vet was dealing with these other crises and said that she wasn't convinced that he wouldn't make it. So, but if we signed these papers, a technician would take him home and try to work with him. And if he was, survived, they would get him adopted, but they wouldn't tell me anything about what happened next.
Mhm.
And so he never got posted up on the Front Street shelter. So I suspect he was adopted by the technician because it was a cute dog.
Right.
And who doesn't love a pug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was kind of pretty rough though. It's like, you can't
Yeah.
tell me. So anyway, azure tongue, heaving chest, arrested on mother's thigh. Water drops flow free. Sad journey to sleep and not dream. A form, a whimper, awaiting an opinion. Wave of drops, a choice, and a rending. Where are you now? Must you choose between breath and succor? Mother's word stare says, I only count two. Rolling the dice for life.
Wow.
I love your last line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the gambling came in.
Right.
And life is a gamble, right?
It is.
There's risk involved.
Yeah, I felt like he at least deserved a chance.
Yes, that was beautiful.
So this one was, third one here is from the last New Year's Eve, called Turn Page. As the sand runs out, anticipation builds. Cheers ring in the new. Gravity draws two bodies, fusing two strangers' lips, cauterizing a year past. What dreams may come?
Wow. Cauterizing the years past is wonderful. Ooh.
It was a bad year.
Yeah.
Yep. Get that.
Anyone else?
Sure. I'll read one I just wrote. I saw this article in I would read Daily Kos most every day, and there was this wonderful article in there about a woman from the Ukraine, and so this is the one I'm going to read. Svetlana Goy. For 10 months she stayed. Svetlana Goy, retired, 76 years old, would not leave her home in the Ukraine when asked to do so by the military. Too dangerous to live here, they told her. She would not leave Orikhiv. Home is home, she said. For 10 months she stayed. Much of Orikhiv was gone. First, she used gas to cook her food. The gas lines were blown up. Then she used electricity. The station was destroyed. First, she used tap water, but when the water main was hit, she would get water from the river. She cooked on a fire outside. When the roof of her home caved in and a missile hit the balcony of her home and shattered all the windows, her home was gone. She left for Zaporizhzhia, 65 kilometers away. Before the war, she had loved feeding neighborhood cats and dogs and kept on during the shelling. Though far away now, home is still home. She slips back there to bring food to cats who found refuge in a basement. Dogs come running to her when they see her coming. My spirit runs with them, lifted by this woman's courage.
Nice.
Love that.
Incredible
then-
what they have to do.
What was that?
It's incredible what they have to do to survive.
Right. And the courage of these people is so amazing. So, and then if it's okay, I've got a new book that was
baby.
it was Dave Bowles published this one for me. It was so neat. And it's uh, I'll this is a song, I mean, one that I kind of like. It's sing the spirit of peace, peace of many names, paz, mir, shalom, salam, haiwa, shanti, vreden, pax, irene, soul, and more. For all people have their own name for peace. In the dark of our days, a presence like a moon of reflected light, like birdsong greeting us each dawn as morning circles its way around the earth, above gardens and graves, above bounty and drought, above battlefields and shrines. It waits on arid mountaintops and valleys of fertile earth, in the rippling water of rivers and streams, in the flow of our arterial veins. Oneness of many myriad forms and colors echoes in our hearts like a song. Our roots are deep.
Wow. Oh, yes.
Thank you. It's great.
Okay, Mark hasn't. We need to hear from Mark.
Yes, we do. Where is he? Thank you for the chuckles. I have two poems. The first is called Turning the Corner. Wind laps my face and dishevels this t-shirt as I hold my arms out like airplane wings. It's a May evening in the Carolinas, mid-70s and humid. On a twilight walk before returning home to write. The wind brings memories of bike riding in Bay Area spring, turning corners in neighborhood side streets at full speed, hair going in every which direction, no care in the world for a child. But that was then, and this is now. So while cricket chirps and gaggle of birds in the tree across the street squawk like a Twitter feed with nothing better to do, I best turn this corner in the twilight of the present and head home before the swarm of mosquitoes finds me.
Great. Oh my. That's so it's amazing that you had a poem about the wind, because the wind was the very next poem in my little book.
No kidding. Okay. Well, that is wonderful. And then so I went back home, and of course I wrote that poem and a couple more.
Right.
And this poem here was written in the previous writing session in the evening. And this one is called Dryer Spin. Listening to the dryer spin while draped across the couch like a blanket folded up on itself, as though its owner had gotten up and walked away. Listening to the dryer spin on the other side of the wall in a utilities walk-in closet. Thinking of all the times I'd sat or stood in a laundromat, staring through the glass of a side-loading clothes dryer and writing poems about doing just that. Just to pass the time. Just to avoid the sea of faces, any of whom could notice me, quote unquote, staring back at them. Or just because the mechanical hum and the clanging of metal zipper against metal dryer took me somewhere else. listening to the dryer spin and remembering some of these poems. Oh, the college years, the apartment complexes, the video games and the coffee houses next door. But then I get sad, really, really sad. There was this one laundromat poem inside the backpack that was stolen. It was written to the tune of the arcade game theme music. The arcade game in the back corner of the laundromat. A poem I cannot in any way, shape, or form replicate.
Right.
I want to stop listening to my own clothes dryer. I want to stop thinking about it. But neither the cycle of the machine or this poem are complete.
Oh, yes. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was lovely, Mark.
Thank you. I've probably written over the years about 20 clothes dryer poems.
Wow.
You were all so much more prolific than I am.
I've written a lot of poems, multitasking, at the laundromat, commuting on a bus or the BART trains, while working a graveyard shift somewhere, the emergency after hours phone line kind of thing. And it was either that or watch, late night TV on a 20-year-old TV set in the corner of the office, right? And so, I've had a lot of experience with, just writing about mundane, everyday, normal things that are just right in front of my face, and what am I thinking about it, and that sort of thing. But that one poem was just sort of like, that one laundromat poem was like the creme de la creme, with the cherry on top.
Right.
Because I was so proud of myself for having written a poem that kind of mimicked the tune and the cadence of this creepy arcade game theme music.
I bet it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had been listening to it for an hour. Nobody else was in the laundromat at the time. So that little theme music was just playing, saying, hey, come play me.
Yeah.
Right. And that tune just got so much into my head and my mood. And I wrote this poem, and I thought it was the greatest thing. And a few weeks later, the backpack with that poem in it gets stolen.
Oh.
And so there were a few other poems in there that I really treasured. And a couple of them I was able to maybe recuperate or recover maybe 90% of them. But that one is like, no, that was a once in a million lifetime shot of being alone in that laundromat and listening to that theme music for an hour until it hits me. Right.
I like the way you incorporated it into this other poem, even though we still don't know exactly what that poem was about. It's captured in there, and you're sharing it with us in some respect.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. The poem within a poem,
Right.
in a way.
Yeah.
The box inside of the box. Inside of the box, inside of the box. Yeah. Pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
So are we doing a second round, or what are we doing here?
Sure, go for it.
in the same order?
Oh, sure. The ball goes to you.
Okay. So I'm just I was just rifling through to find a poem, and I found this one, which I haven't ever shared with anybody. But it was brought to my attention that I should write a poem about a black hole.
Oh,
So that's what this is. And I haven't really edited it or anything, but we'll see if the effect comes through. Black hole. The hole of blackness will pull you in, starting with the left shoe, sucking it off your foot. Toe, heel, toe, a tap dance time zone. You into a cartwheel of free-form movement. The hole of darkness, a whirling dervish, the outer ring, orange flames, long fringe. The 60s revisited, like the shag carpet your toes would sink into, trying to find that last marble. Avocado green you cannot unsee. The newness of plastics as it clicks into place. Your left hand with two-fingered salute, an homage to peace, love, and joy. Cheering on, feed the hungry, and hug a tree. All 5 digits accounted for. Wild neon-colored flowers sprinkle into a type of war zone. You expect arsenals of gunshot sprayed into the galaxy like stars upon stars upon stars. But no, that is left behind to discharge its anger power, dissipate into saddened, bewildered eyes. Hurts so heavy, they have only gravity to hug the earth. You, my friend, are meant for something greater, the dark, sucking, expansive stillness. As your head enters the cavity of what could be an MRI, miraculous revelations inside. Your mind and expanding consciousness quiets. You feel tingles in every cell, like the foam of bubbles, rise tall, then settle low. The hot tub jets fizz and hiss in exhalation, pulling air from hollow balls of water, air releasing energy you are willing to surrender into this cloudless surrealism. Black upon black upon black, blankets of home, that dark, comforting womb, remembering a turnkey life and deceptively simple childhood of animals and leaves. You will miss the chlorophyll, splashing water, toes in the sand, palming your skin and feeling the denseness underneath. You will miss the scent of babies, fur of puppies, and smiles gotten from smiling first. You rethink those thoughts within thoughts within thoughts. Your left hip, now in weightless flight, falls into a cavern of darkness, becoming whole with head and hand. Your heart pressured into the darkness feels the force, resisting at first because it feels unlike what you knew, but succumbs to what overtakes you as love. Immensely concentrated, intensely self-directed, otherworldly, wholeheartedly, joy. Yet at home in a hole where there is a hole in a quagmire of stillness, reservations for one of which you are drawn, finding everything inside as if all of eternity were pulled outside in and you were the point of attention. The ink at the tip of a pen, ready to begin again, a blank slate, yet unnamed.
Love that.
A little
Nice.
long, but I wanted the effect of somebody like falling in piece by piece into the hole and finding something unexpected.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is
I
that
think
good, or do you
you-
want one more?
Sure, one more.
Okay, let's go back to these crop poems, Allegra. Okay. I think I'll do One Clear Night because that's fun. This was for the voices. One clear night, I did not see a craft, no disk spinning counterclockwise in the western sky. 5 lights rotating toward and away, about 5 seconds apart, apparently blinking, but more likely spinning around craft as it hovered about 5 to 30 minutes, time being irrelevant, then jetted south like a comet out of view. I was not frightened, though wondered if my face had been seen, framed by the bathroom window, staring. I did not think to offer melon balls, grapes, and mandarin oranges, fruit I had prepared for surprise guests. I did not think to string banners across the sky as welcoming ceremony. I did consider not telling anyone, not focusing on the obsessive attraction to the Pleiades, the urge to write a poem and shove it in the back of a drawer, a little diagram blinking its way into the future, which apparently is now.
Great.
Very clever.
Which apparently is now. Love that.
Anyway, that's one of the crop circle poems, because as I was putting together my presentation, I, of course, found a crop circle that had a circle and 5 balls around it, which
Oh.
obviously was the spaceship that I had seen.
Right.
And then in looking at the description of what other people had said, everybody thought it was a spaceship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Allegra, I think no, are you?
No, Rick is next.
Rick is next.
Okay, here's one called Time Travel. It's a short one. From the next room, an idle curse at her phone. For fuck's sake. A back window of waving trees. The color of the garage. Dog at my feet. Keyboard beneath my fingers. For a moment, I am home. The moment ends, and it's time to leave.
Ah,
Uh,
give us another one.
Okay. This one's called Bitter Harvest. It's also another really short one. Words that wound, dreams and promises spell out, soaking into the soil. What springs from this dampness?
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
I love that promises spill out. Very cool.
So I was when I went back to work in July. When you're gone for 2 months, they deactivate all your email accounts.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
So I was like, and it takes them forever to read. So I was sitting there for like 3 days, trying to, trying to stay busy. So at one point, I just got annoyed and started writing a poem. This one's called Back to Work.
There you go.
That's
Back
wonderful.
To the job, back to the job and eager to work. Stuck in my cube, having to lurk. Computer access is slow to get. I'd rather be home with my pet. Clients to see and records to keep. Watching the clock's hands creep. Internet is down, feeling adrift. Long time till the end of the shift.
I get that.
That's great.
So this one is probably
Having to lurk.
this last one's it's probably one of the weirdest ideas that I think I've ever written about. And it stemmed from I was dealing with the thinking about the death of my son, and I was just one day thinking back, being in grammar school, and how you could take a potato and stick it in stick some toothpicks in it and put it in a mason jar, and suddenly it would just spring to life and grow more potatoes. So I called this one reset button. If people were potatoes, I would plant what remains in the dark, rich soil. Leaves and vines would spring, and I could see you grow again.
Oh.
If people were potatoes, graveyards would be hello again, a station for going and coming, and resume where we left off before so rude an interruption.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know, here our graveyards are, it's like just grass and then a stone, you know, here and there. And other places their graveyards are gardens, and they're beautiful and they're full of foliage and love. Yeah. I think all graveyards should be plentiful with foliage.
Yep.
And potatoes.
Okay, Mark, goes to you.
I believe Allegra is next.
Oh, Allegra, that's right. You're right.
Okay. Well, I think I'll go and do my wind poem. The wind. The wind teases the leaves, swirls them into a dance, then sends them scurrying into the street. Something catches the heart with the song of the leaves as they clatter away from me today. When I hear their sweet song, I remember your voice and will not fear the cold that comes too soon. Perhaps it is time now to find my own song to sing, breath leading me as if I were the wind.
Nice. Nice
And it's-
shift.
This is the form of the poem.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoops. You know, the single word.
Like being blown across the page.
Right, right.
Be right back. I have to give this to somebody. Here you go, then.
Do you want another poem or?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
This one's an ekphrastic poem. It's
Ooh.
called Holding On, inspired by Rembrandt's still life with old books. Cracked spines, crumbling pages, 5 books in varying degrees of disrepair, one open to read. Rembrandt lights these relics of a world long gone, giving them a dance-like grace. A glass of wine, a piece of bread, a lute on its side lightens the dark wall behind it. I can hear the soft music. A bit of feather down drifts from somewhere and fastens on my pen. Each time I check, it is still there, but changing its place in the drift of air. Grandfather's old Bible is in the trunk upstairs in the guest bedroom. No one in the family wants to keep it, so I hold on with the singing in my heart. Autumn leaves falling crumble to the earth.
Wow.
Thank you.
That has a lot of little meanings in there. I said. So, very cool.
Thank you.
So pictures do for me what the open fields, the open crops do for you.
Yeah. Yes, beautiful.
Do you have another one, Allegra?
Oh, let's see. I've got it's a dangerous thing to ask me if I've got another one because, I can I can keep on and on and on. Oh, Here, there's another short one. Wait a minute, something went off on my computer here. I don't know what here. Isn't it amazing? Somehow something came up on my computer about restaurants being closed, and I had to, at least I know now how to find that to exit out. This is called At the Turn of the Road. There is a small house at the turn of the road waiting for your return. The doorway seems dark, but 2 windows hold light. Whispers hover within. There is a small space in the turn of my mind waiting for miracles.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Love that.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, you're
Kind
up.
of reminds
Okay. I love how we are bringing up things in the second round in response to each other, getting inspired by each other. I really like that. Thank you for flying with us. We shall be hovering for the next several hours at an altitude of 80,000 feet to avoid radar detection. While in flight, please remain in the prone position, as any unnecessary movements may interfere with the services we are performing. Please enjoy the complimentary sedatives and memory-blocking bioagents. Wrist and ankle belts will remain fastened throughout the flight. In the event of procedural side effects, including prophylactic shock, heart failure, excessive farting, or blue fire emanating from your reproductive organs, the emergency panel located above you will release the appropriate remedy. Tonight's movie will be shown on the home world in what you would call the near future. Upon completion of this flight, you will be returned to the cornfield or shack where we discovered you. Thank you for flying unidentified.
Wow. I get it.
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
So you have one more?
Yes, I do. And for some reason, I have not titled it yet. A siren howls in the distance. Dog barks closer nearby. Jet plane engine groans louder and louder, then tapers off on its approach to the airport. A relative silence finally returns to room, the low-pitched hum of refrigerator little more than background static in the greater universe. I return to thoughts and pen and a wandering mind when, outside in darkness, a mystery woman exclaims, "Go away!" What followed that was brief and inaudible. How different this is from East 18th Street when I was 19 years old. Basement apartment, a laundry room turned into studio, alone for the first time. The cries of the night that set me on edge, the rapid heartbeat, the nervous pacing to door, to press ear to try to hear, to pace back to bed, to fret with taste of shoe tread at base of my throat. By now, in the here and now, another siren in the distance has announced its passing through. On my couch, belly full, I am unmoved, seemingly content to lay here, an old cat on a pillow, licking its wrist and biding its time.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very cool.
Okay. So maybe we'll wrap it up and I'll
Okay.
let you know. Well, in August, we have Brendan Constantine, who is a friend of Rick Lupert. I just got Rick's latest book, and it's really great. So Brendan's, I've read some of his poetry. That looks pretty good. I've also been in communication with Erica Gross from the Los Gatos area. She does a newsletter, monthly newsletter, poetry newsletter. So we don't have a date yet set, but I'm in communication with her. So
Okay.
more to follow.
Sounds fun.
Yes.
Okay.
yes. All
So
right.
this
looking-
was an intimate gathering, but a thoroughly enjoyable one.
Yeah.
The right people showed up.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks for hosting, Rick.
You bet. Take care. See you next month.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.